Jungkook and Jimin's new travel show, Are You Sure?, was recently released, and we have to talk about all the fun that happened in episode 1 and 2 together.
And also comment down below all your thoughts because we'd love to read them. The series started in the most funny way possible of morning Jimin, very early morning Jimin, getting ready to meet up with Jungkook after his GMA performance.
This first scene already set the tone as to how unfiltered this show is going to be, which we have been genuinely loving so much. One big curiosity that I had when this show was first announced was when the heck did they have the time to film it? So I love how in the first 10 seconds they let us know the date that Jimin goes to visit Jungkook. It gives us a little timeline of when they made time for this show.
And I find it so crazy how they just started filming the travel show right away, right after Jungkook's GMA performance. Like BTS does not need rest because Jin did the same thing. One day after Jin was released from the military, he went to host thousands of armies for BTS Festa, and then as soon as he started getting into the car, started filming content for Run Jin. BTS literally worked so hard for us just to keep armies entertained.
We know Jungkook was busy during this time, but they were finding like the little openings in their schedules to pre-film for army for when they're in the military. That's so thoughtful of them.
I find it so ironic how Jimin was trying so hard to take care of Jungkook and his illness in the beginning of the episode. He literally said, "I can get sick, but you can't." But by the end, Jimin was the one very sick. It was genuinely so unfortunate to see Jimin get a stomach bug while filming a travel show with Jungkook.
But you could tell that he was trying to be enthusiastic and he kept a smile throughout the whole day, even though it was probably really uncomfortable to have a stomach bug while on vacation.
It was so sad to see Jimin and his digestive system go through that. We hope they're okay.
And we gotta talk about one of the funniest moments in episode 1. If you know, you know. That's all I have to say for everyone to know what we're talking about, right? Jimin and Jungkook decide to go kayaking on their first day. There was a scene where Jimin was getting help from Jino getting into the kayak, and Jungkook, being the curious professional that he is, tried to get into the kayak without help, and then this happened. New kayak fear unlocked. I didn't know that was possible.
We were absolutely shocked, and once we found out that he was okay, it was so funny to us. Look at them running to him! Jimin was laughing so much and the people in the back were just panicking, running to pick up Jungkook. Jimin ended up so far away and Jungkook was just worried about one thing, his cell phone. But it was so funny because he knew it made for great entertainment, which it did.
Thank you. It's also funny because right before that scene happened, Uthman had commented on how Jungkook was wearing like fashionista clothes to go kayaking, and then he got so wet.
But by the end of this experience, they looked like they were having such a tranquil and relaxing time, which we enjoyed watching.
Until the very end of the episode, we ended up learning that Jimin had a stomach bug throughout majority of the episode. It seems like his stomach bug started right after eating that burger at the first restaurant. And then, familiar to add to Jimin's pain, he woke up the next morning with nose pain. I wonder why.
I wonder from whose elbow.
Apparently in the middle of the night, Jungkook's elbow decided to strike Jimin in the nose. Poor Jimin, he didn't get any sleep that night. I would ask him, "Are you sure you want to go to America?"
The first episode contains so much of Jimin suffering because the mosquito also bit Jimin. In the face, familia. Oh my god, we just felt so bad for Jimin in episode 1. In between episode 1 and episode 2, we were hoping that Jimin would feel better because he looked dead by the end of episode 1.
And luckily, it does look like Jimin starts to feel better.
Because episode 2 started off with a hilarious prank where Jimin sprayed Jungkook with windshield wipers as he was riding the motorcycle. That was savage, Jimin, and hilarious.
JK looked so euphoric while riding that motorcycle, familia. I feel like he had to convince like the managers or something to be able to ride it, and then they finally said yes, and he just looked like a baby eating candy.
He looked so cool and so American riding that motorcycle.
He was saying hi to everyone as they were passing by, even people who weren't there he was saying hi to. In episode 2, they also had like a wonderful yacht ride together. It seems like this is when Jimin started to feel better, in my opinion. I think that nice breeze and nap that he had on the yacht started making him feel better. But there was a really hilarious scene where Jimin and Jungkook were kind of like wrestling. And while Jimin was on top of him, pretending to beat him up, something happened and then he like grabbed his butt. And then Jungkook kept screaming, "No, you can't, you can't." So we're assuming that maybe Jimin farted on him or something.
Or more.
And Jungkook is so nice. He was just cracking up saying, "No, you can't."
Jungkook said, "No, you might crap yourself." These conversations between these two are so unfiltered, familia, and extra hilarious. We are loving these TMIs.
In the first and second episode, we were constantly mind blown that we were seeing Jimin and Jungkook, the top K-pop artists, in a Walmart.
Seeing them explore the US and stores and places we are so familiar with is so crazy to us. For some reason, it feels unreal seeing them drive the streets we drive and be in places that we go to very often, like Walmart and Dick's Sporting Goods. We've always loved watching BTS shop, so watching them shop in stores that you shop at is even more enjoyable to watch. Plus, seeing them use brands that we use daily, like Sweet Baby Ray's barbecue sauce, Tapatio, Twinkies, Pepto-Bismol.
We have those in our kitchen.
Because we go out of our way to try brands and things that BTS likes, like Bibimbap, Shin Ramyeon, and Jin Ramyeon. We literally just made a video about trying noodles that BTS really enjoys on our second channel. If you're interested in exploring the Korean culture more with us, please consider subscribing to our second channel.
We really enjoyed Jimin and Jungkook's grocery shopping adventures. It seems like Jungkook kept abandoning Jimin. He kept having these side missions. For one of them, he was looking for the Twinkies that he apparently loves. There was a side mission for guacamole and another one for nachos. And even outside the grocery store, JK left Jimin. He abandoned Jimin and took his umbrella.
I feel like Jungkook loves leaving Jimin or something, because he didn't only leave him in the grocery store, he abandoned him alone at the table as he was spontaneously drinking beer in the rain with a deep monologue. He's so funny. He just allows his intrusive thoughts to win, and we absolutely love it.
JK wanted to go to the grocery store just to get a sponge, familia. It was kind of meant to be that they did end up going to the grocery store just for a sponge, because that's when they ran into an army.
She was so wholesome and respectful, and she even had a BTS tattoo, which was so freaking cool.
And she also ended up making their pizza.
That's literally a dream to have Jimin and Jungkook come to your grocery store as you're working in Northwest America. Wow, congrats to her.
You've made it.
Yeah. We were looking forward to that specific scene ever since we saw it in the trailer.
Shout out to Jenna, because that could have been you. And it's funny, when Jimin told Jungkook that an army asked about them, Jimin kept saying, "We still got it."
아직 안 죽었네.
살아있네.
It's so freaking funny.
What do they mean, still?
Another time they said "we still got it" was when Jimin and Jungkook were driving in the car together and Jungkook pulled up Korea's top 50 music playlist. And it's just so crazy how these two friends own 5 out of the 6 top rankings for Korea's top music. Jungkook had first place with 7, Jimin had third place and fourth place with Like Crazy, 5th place with Angel Part 2, and 6th place with Set Me Free Part 2. These friends just casually owning Korea's top music charts.
Can't relate to those conversations.
They've still got it!
아직 안 죽었네.
살아있네.
Right after their conversation about being the top 6 on Korea's top 50, they went into a really nice deep conversation where JK shared his musical goal. He talked about how he wants to share his voice in different genres and in different songs. We really appreciated that conversation because those are conversations that we don't get to hear often from the members.
Their deep talks about their goals and music was one thing I was specifically looking forward to in this travel show. I really loved hearing Jungkook talk about how he wants to be known and remembered, someone who can sing a song really well, and it's the actual process of singing that he genuinely enjoys. While Jimin is currently enjoying writing his own songs and telling his own stories.
This conversation kind of made it clear that all the BTS members have their own musical preferences, and we're here to support it.
Another great conversation that I really loved was during this moment when Jimin was showing Jungkook his song Who, and Jungkook was giving him some tips. It was so cool to see two extremely great artists discuss their individual projects and share advice to one another. Literally our two favorite artists. These are our two biases discussing their solo projects. These are conversations that we have always wanted to hear.
After kayaking on their first night, they end up going glamping, and Jimin and JK, after having a few drinks, I believe, they start mentioning that funny ass V live that they have with V. That time that Tay kept mentioning every single brand. We were cracking up that we actually heard them get to talk about it because we were so curious as to how they felt about that live since months ago. And then that conversation leads to Jimin saying that he misses V, and then JK ends up calling him. It seems like they had a quick little conversation and then Jungkook hung up on him. And for some reason, JK found it so hilarious that he hung up on Tae. And it seems like Tae texted him right away, cursing him out.
Comment down below what you think Tae said to Jungkook. We were so excited when they started FaceTiming V and Suga because we literally brought up the idea of how excited we'd be if we got to see any of the other members. And on top of that, after watching, we saw Bangtan TV post a preview clip with a special guest. And that guest looks very familiar. Kim Tae-young will be joining us in future episodes, and we are beyond excited.
Episode 3, we are anticipating you.
The madness! Oh my god!
So does this officially mean that this is the time that JK said he was listening to a lot of New Jeans?
Oh, and they went snowboarding?
I guess we'll have to wait to find out. When Jimin called Suga, Suga answered with so much excitement, Familia. He said what? What a way to answer.
Suga answered in the most Suga way possible.
And in that conversation, Jimin tries to tease Suga, talking about that he was somewhere. But Suga is keeping up with all of his members' schedules. He knew Jimin was in America, and he knew that JK couldn't perform due to the rain. He loves his members.
We miss our Suga. We wonder what he's up to. FaceTiming the members was so wholesome. It was nice to see how they enjoy and interact with each other in their personal time, which we are so grateful they allowed us to be a part of. Overall, we are having so much fun bonding with Jimin and Jungkook. Watching these two have fun and explore together has been filling that BTS void inside all of our souls.
This show is exactly what we needed, and we are so happy that it is just starting and we have so many episodes to look forward to. Overall, the first and second episode were and we have a third member to be excited for episode 3-4 now. Shout out to Jimin for keeping a smile throughout the 2 episodes even though he wasn't feeling the best, and shout out to Jungkook for making time in between his promotions to make this happen for ARMY. They intentionally planned to have this show while they were in the military, so we have to show it so much support, Familia. And if you would like to watch it with us, the link will be available for you down below.
Oh, wow. You might crap yourself. I feel like they usually don't keep this dialogue in. This is so funny. He said I know too.